just love me. Let's face it.
All right.
It's true. It's not fair. Ready to clap?
Clapping?
Yep. Hi.
Hi. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Ooh, a
How
little
is
sultry
everyone
there.
That's sultry.
Smooth jazz. I love it when you do that, Sonia. It's always just in my head. Every time now we're like doing like the sultry voice. I just imagine you going smooth
jazz.
We're with you all night.
Jessica, what are you drinking tonight?
I do have a Diet Coke with me, but I am also drinking a lot of H2O. I am still recovering my voice. I'm trying really, really hard to get it back so that I sound semi-normal for our listeners out there.
Sonia, what are you drinking?
Water. Stupid medicine.
Ooh,
Well,
medicine.
Fuck you, bitches. I'm drinking Black Fly vodka sour raspberry because I need a drink.
How is it? Because that sounds really good.
It does
It's really
sound good, yeah.
It is really, really good. It would be better if it was like on ice.
On ice.
Yeah, because
Maybe
you know me and my ice.
Go get some fucking ice. You're right by your kitchen.
No, I don't have any in my freezer. I didn't
Oh.
make any, and I don't have one of those fridges that does it on their own because
First
I'm a
world
broke ass bitch. I can't afford that shit. So I'd have to go to a gas station or something, and I don't got time for that.
I know I'll officially have made it in life if I have a fridge with an ice machine. built
Right?
in.
That's how you know.
I had one in my last house.
So you made it and now you lost it.
I know, she also had an in-ground pool.
I
She
did.
made it, and
I
she
had
created her life.
Huge house, big ass pool, beautiful ass kitchen.
Yeah.
All the kids' rooms were giant.
Yep.
Everyone was local. I had a beautiful garden that provided me some food. But it didn't have the farmland we wanted.
And now she regrets it all. No.
No. I love that. I'm like one of these paranoid people. Every time people would always park in front of my house. I'm like, you don't need to park there.
Because you had like public parking on the street there. Like,
yeah, you don't need like whatever. But there's parking across the street where they were going. Like, why are you parking in front of my house? You don't need to. Like, you don't need to.
I hate that. We have so much street parking on my street that like in the winter it's the worst because the snowplows can't get by.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, cool. Thanks. You snowed us all in the entire street. Thank you for parking there. You all have driveways. I don't know why you're parking on the street. Park in your fucking driveways. But they all have like too many cars per driveway. I'm like, why? How many people live in your house? Like,
well, everyone needs a car.
Need a car? Like, what?
Yeah. Even their kids need a car for when they grow up. Like, don't you understand?
Then let them move into a place that has a driveway that can
That's
fit their
right.
car.
But they're only 17. Like, they can't afford that.
Take the fucking bus.
Yeah. Get them a bus pass.
We always only had we had 2 cars one time for a couple of years. But no one had to park on the street. Our driveway was only 1 car. Yeah. we were jerks. But then our house in Fort Erie was like a 3-car driveway. So it's fine. But people, those jerks.
Well, that's the thing is like most of the driveways on my street are 2 or 3 car driveways.
And they're not using them?
They're either not using them or there's like so many cars that they don't fit in the driveway.
Is it
or
like
they're parking stupid and they're not parking them properly on the driveways? And so
probably that too. Yeah.
That doesn't help. So and I think some of them like park on the street because based on like their schedules when someone's going to be parking in and they don't want to, whatever it is. But either way, it's screwing up my life.
That's it's not good.
It's not good.
It's
at the very least for winter. Get off the fucking road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
For winter.
For winter, summer I could care less.
From November till April, you're not allowed to street park.
Yeah, that's fair. I think.
Right?
Yeah,
I agree.
Right. Put your car in the basement.
Okay, we need to write the mayor
They all
And
have
so
garages too, but of course, like our garage, they fill it with stuff and not cars, you know. So
Yeah.
Yeah, mine has
But
always
still.
been storage.
I don't even have a garage. I'm that poor. See, I don't have an ice fridge. I don't have a garage. Like my
My
life
like
is bad.
anniversary registry, like like my gift registry has an ice maker, like a countertop ice maker. So
I
like
know, that's what I want.
fingers crossed, somebody loves me enough that I get one, but we'll see. Okay, so we're doing the topic. No,
Yes.
we talked about drinks. We went on a
Yeah.
tangent about fridges. Okay. What's your favorite genre of book?
Oh,
Okay, well, Dawn can go first.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
and-
conceding.
dark romance.
Wait,
I love.
wait.
Fuck.
The word is against.
Ooh.
Against.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I go now?
Yeah. Go for it.
So again, dark romance. And like anything taboo or forbidden.
Incest. You're into the incest?
It's the stepbrother. I'm not like brother. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Like I'm cool with like the stepbrother, not blood related, right? Like I'm all like, yeah, I can get that. So someone posted in a group. I'm not gonna say names or anything, but there was so I'm in part of the breeders readers group, right? Try it, you'd love it. Anyway,
Okay.
she's got a breeding kink. Anyway,
yeah, apparently.
so anyway, these books are obviously about breeding and like that's their kink and whatever. Someone took it as far as a mother and son relationship. Yeah, I know. And the father was part of it too.
Why?
So we didn't know if this kid was gonna be a nephew or I was like, that's my trigger. That's what I'm against.
If there's something you're against,
Yeah.
that is it.
That is my no zone. So like I can't do that. Like
Okay.
except
I'm
blood
just gonna
related.
say, because once we get like, I read a lot of horror.
Mhm.
There is worse than that in
Oh, I
some
know.
of these horror books.
Oh, I know. So anyway, so dark romance is my genre. Enemies to lovers, arranged marriage. I love all that shit.
Just not mom and
Yeah. No incest with mother and sons because like
That's the only incest, though. Other incest, she's
like,
open to.
uncle and nephews, you're cool.
Yeah, a
but, like,
grandma
maybe
and
second
son,
cousins
or
I can get on,
grandson, maybe if they're of age. You know?
That's right. Yeah, granny
Yeah.
core. Yeah, that's 2 generations, so it's fine.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
Oh no.
But anyway, yeah, so that's my favorite genre. Granny porn. I went from fairy porn to granny porn.
I'd rather, because you relate to it better. I'd rather
Or you turn his face on you.
saying you're an old bitch.
Yeah.
I'd rather read about someone getting ripped apart, like skinned, their face being worn as a mask than even stepbrother stuff. Like, no, like, that's so gross. I don't even like horror. But if I had to choose between your incest stuff or horror, I would pick that. Like, it's
Well, the issue with horror is there is a lot, especially, I mean, depending on the topics in the horror book. Obviously, not all horror books contain sexual imagery,
Yeah.
but a lot of like the really, really dark stuff does.
Yeah.
And that's not always like sexual imagery toward like rape scenes or anything like that. It's more like I was really trying to get into splatterpunk, and I really wanted to like, I don't know, see if there was limits. Like, well, is there anything I could read that would get a visceral reaction out of me? And so I started with cows. And I told you guys about this book a little bit. It gets so some of the scenes, trigger warning.
Yeah, all the trigger warnings on this episode.
The one scene involves a cow. They work in a slaughterhouse, cow, and all the guys at the end of closing scoop out the sides of the cow to stick their dicks in it to fuck the innards of the cow all at the same time, like group cow bang on
Dudes
the
will
sides.
stick their dick in anything.
Well, yeah. My new favorite saying is men will be men and the sheep are nervous.
That's right. Yeah. I'd be a little nervous too.
So yeah, so there's I read Womb, which was written by like a Canadian actually, and like that one involves in someone sticking their entire head up a vagina to reimagine their birth because they have mommy issues. You know, like there's a lot of like sexual grossness in there.
Yeah.
And I still rather read that than incest and sex porn.
Yeah. No, me too.
Judgment-free zone, apparently.
No, we judge you, Dawn. Just
There's no. You know what? I will judge anyone who is into that. I'll be like, guys, no, gross.
Isn't that like the most searched topic on like Pornhub?
It is
Step porn.
Yeah. Because it's a hot topic. Like, and I'm not saying like I personally would have a stepbrother and do that. Obviously, not in real life, but like I don't know. It's the forbidden things. I think that everyone gets on board. Like that, it's a no-no. So then you want to do it.
You know what's forbidding your boss? Like, let's stick to that.
They do that too.
No, I would like stick to that. Like, don't cross the lines. And like now it's in like TV shows where like incest is like really viewed.
But it's not incest. They're not actually blood related.
It's not in porn. It's acting. It's acting. It's all acting.
No, I mean even like in the stories in the books, they're not related. They're step. So it's from marriage. They're related.
But it's also like, did they become step siblings as adults versus step siblings as children?
Most of them are like like adults.
Because that's a big difference too. Like if you're growing up with this person being your sibling for all intents and purposes, like that's
gross. Yeah.
Like,
no. It's like adults, like they're in college and their parents got married on a whim and then they're like stuck together as a family, but they don't think of each other as a family. And then, they get together. Like
then you're not calling them stepbrother. Like that.
Right. I know. It's like.
But the people jacking off to the story are, okay?
Okay, I got it. I'm sorry I'm ruining your fantasies, Domri.
Well, okay, to be fair, that is kind of what happened with my aunts, but it kind of was reverse. Is like she was dating a guy in college, they weren't in college together, I don't think, but she was dating him, and then his dad met my grandmother, and then they got together, and then my aunt and her boyfriend split up, but there was a time where they were technically, I guess, step. Well, they might have been dating, so. Things get murky, but I'm still not backing off to it. So,
oh no, it's no.
Okay, kink shamers, whatever.
Listen, anything else is whatever. Do what you want. Not some. Okay, I do have some boundaries, but as long as no one's getting hurt, do what you want.
Okay, you want to know my boundary? And you guys are gonna be like, seriously, this is your boundary, but like. The stepbrother thing isn't. Teacher and student, like, that's grooming. Yeah. That's legit grooming.
Yeah, that's hurting someone.
I don't give a shit if they're in college and they're both adults. I don't care. I cannot because that's an authority figure. Manipulating a girl says, like, no, that I will not read. I don't even care. Nope.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like you're paying to be at this institution, and that professor usually is a lot older, and also like has so much more control. You don't want to get. And I can read the most
fucked up shit, like you, Jessica. Like I can read fucked up shit. I can read weird shit. I can read the most kinkiest shit. I can't read that. I cannot read actual grooming. No, just can't do it.
So how do you guys feel about the It scene?
Which one? Like
the child sex scene in It. That's how it ends.
Oh,
yeah.
With the children?
With the children. They all put it in the one girl.
No.
Yeah.
No. Anything with children. Anybody under 17 and there's like a scene.
Mhm.
So 17 and under is icky. No one should
Yeah.
be
Right?
like, why is that? Like, so that writer, Stephen King,
Yeah.
like had that imagery in his brain while he was watching, like while he was writing it down.
Yep.
Like that's kind of gross, Stephen. Like, you know, get
This is back when
therapy.
he was on all the drugs. I actually watched like
I
somewhat
thought that was Goonies or something though. That was
no, it was
not
it.
it. It was it. I see. There's so many of them where there's a group of kids. Yeah.
But I watched TikTok where someone was taking like a different kind of approach to that, you know, because the whole idea is that it was supposed to be about, you know, a group of children kind of going through life and getting older, right? So they so it was kind of a weird way to like put it together, but that's what they did. But they said like it was kind of like the fact that like what do kids call sex?
It.
They're
Let's do
doing
it.
it. So it was kind of like a word play, and I was like, oh, that's kind of clever. I mean, still don't write about child sex scenes unless it's
Yeah.
really important to your story.
Yeah,
But there's very few
unless
few
you're
reasons.
15 yourself
Yeah.
and it's in like a young adult novel that you're writing for other young adults, then it's okay. But not when you're 40.
You know how many sex scenes I wrote about Draco Malfoy when I was a
You
teenager?
know how many people still do that? Like,
Oh yeah, I believe it.
they're in love with him. I'm like, I don't. Okay.
Yeah. Tom Felton kind of let himself go, but he did have a bout of alcoholism, and
But
as we
wasn't it-
know, that can age you.
Oh.
So-
Like he only like got bald. Like that's it. Like you can wear a hat, you're fine.
I'm sure he still has money. He can just get a transplant or
That's
something.
right. Or you just like, I got money, and then you're more attractive, right? You're just like,
Yeah.
oh, you think
Yeah.
I'm bald? Here's money. Like,
he makes a wig out of dollar bills.
like cute little curls and stuff.
Yeah, just to show off his money and his hair.
Yeah. Ooh.
So what about you, Sonia? What genre?
Fantasy and sci-fi. That's pretty much. I've been reading. So my comfort series is the Drizzt, Legend of Drizzt series. There's like 33 books, more every year, but I think he's finally almost done that series. R.A. Salvatore. So I've been reading that series since I was like 10 years old. Like so, like over and over again. So that's like my favorite series. Sword and Truth series. I really like that. From Terry Goodwin or whatever his name is. I never remember anyone's names. I recently got into it's called the Callahan series because I found a weird looking cover in like a box of books my brother gave me, and I was like, oh my god, I want to read this book because it had a fun cover. But then it was like the 5th book in the series, so then I had to read the whole series. And that's from Spider Robinson. He's from like Canada somewhere.
That's Canada somewhere.
He's still around. Yeah. Comics. I love comics too.
Yeah, comics are good. I haven't read a
Like
lot of comics
the
lately.
10
I don't think.
pages, you know, you get them. Like not
Or
the graphic
mangas.
novels.
I love mangas too.
Oh, yeah.
I actually read Comey Can't Communicate, which I bought the first 2 for my son for his birthday because I heard it was like a cute little like story about like a super socially anxious schoolgirl who, you know, doesn't talk a whole lot. And I was like, oh, she sounds autistic. This sounds, you know, like a good story to read. And there's actually an anime now on Netflix, Comey Can't Communicate.
Ooh.
And so my son was watching that and he loves it. So he watched like the whole first season, like binged it. So yeah.
Is it English dubbed or is it subbed?
I have no idea. I didn't watch the anime. I only read the
okay.
first 2 mangas, but I don't know. He watches both, so
Yeah.
So either or, I guess.
Either
You have
or,
to check. I really don't know, but I thought it was cute. Yeah, he I guess saw it and he was like, "Oh, did you know the manga you bought me is also on Netflix?" I was like, "I did not actually. Thank you
More
for
you
the
know.
information." I know. I've been really into women's rage books lately too.
Nice.
You know, Yeah, very good. I read recently a book called Night Bitch. It's a type of horror surrealism. I love surrealism books that aren't that you're like reading. You're like, what the fuck is going on? I have no idea. And then at the end, you're like, oh, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's about a woman who's taking care of her kid, stay at home. She, gave up her career because she wasn't making as much money, and her husband traveled for work. He made more money, so she was home alone a lot with the kid. And she slowly starts thinking she's turning into a dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I hate when that happens to me.
Right? Like, but then she's realizing she's more freeing by playing dogs with her son, and they're running around on their hands and feet and rolling in the mud and doing dog things. And she's like, wow, it's so freeing. And the other moms are like, what the hell are you doing? She's like,
Child services are called.
So I had no idea where it was going, but I'm definitely into the whole women's rage thing. I feel like, especially in horror, there's a lot more women's rage movies and books coming out because women are fucking angry.
Yeah.
So I like reading that other women are as angry as I am.
My first toe dipping into feminism was a women's rage type book. I read it in the 8th grade. It was called
The Daughters of Eve.
Yes, I absolutely adored it. They were a little extremist at one point, but like sometimes that's needed. Like the dude like had sex with the girl and he's like super disrespectful after, and it was like somebody's boyfriend, but she wasn't mad at the girl. So they like kidnapped him and shaved his head and shit. But like I loved it, and that was like the introductory to like women are awesome and need more women together to get shit done. So like that was one of my favorites when I was younger.
I also love that you're like, they were a little extremist. It's like men literally murder women still.
Yeah.
So like men are still the extreme ones.
Yeah.
So we can be a little extreme sometimes.
Yeah.
It's
and
okay.
it was just shaving head, which is fine. And like the dude cried for it for like days. Like it was
poor baby.
And like the like dads in the book were douchebags. Like, it was like alert behavior. So I love
usually
it.
is.
Usually is, yeah.
My favorite Rage Woman series was called the Mindfuck series. And it is about a woman serial killer. And she's dating an FBI agent. She ends up dating the FBI agent who's actually searching for her. But you find out why she's killing these people. And you sympathize with her. Like, there's obviously a lot of trauma. And it's about this secret small-ass town that she grew up with her brother. I'm not going to give any like details, obviously, in case people want to read it. But what I found really unique was the pen name that it was under. It was S.T. Abby.
Stabby.
Stabby. Yeah. So
I love that.
The author is no longer alive, unfortunately. But it's still like one of my favorite books, and there wasn't too much smut, Sonia, so you might want to read
I
it.
can read it. Yeah.
It was really, really well done too. But like some of the scenes are very graphic. Like the killing scenes are graphic, and so are the sexual scenes when the essay scenes. So
no smut, but there's still
there's a little smut like between the agent and her. A very little. Like, obviously, you got to build that relationship, but yeah, no. And she's so empowering. It was great. And like, it was well done for a strong female character who wasn't immature and too cocky about her abilities. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, she wasn't like, I can kick your ass. Like, no, she was just like, come at me. Like,
yeah.
Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, so that's why I like that book.
Nice.
Nice.
Is there a book to movie adaptation that you really like or really hate?
Huh.
I'm curious.
I didn't like Ready Player One. The book, I love the books. And then the movie came out, and I feel like they just stole the idea and ruined it. Like, I didn't like how they did that.
I really liked. Do you guys remember the book and movie Host by Stephanie Meyer? She also wrote Twilight.
I never read it, but I've heard of it.
I liked it.
Did you like
really
the
loved
book
it.
or the movie better?
So when I read it when I was like really young, like, well, not really young, I was like early 20s. So it was really confusing at first because it's like the dual POV of the alien inside of her and her, like, so you got two people in one person, so it's very confusing at first. But no, I still love the book more than the movie, just because like once you get like a handle on that, it was so well done.
I don't think there's a movie out there that I liked better than the book. Like
Twilight.
I did not like the movie better.
No,
I like the movies better than the book.
Oh.
Charlie's a fucking weirdo creep in the books. He's like really into Alice, like, you know, weird shit like that. But the dad you get in the movies is he's a nice dad, you know. The mom is a bitch in the book. She didn't even go to the wedding in the book, I don't think. But she shows up in the wedding in the movie, so you sympathize with her a little bit. And then like, okay, I think Twilight's been out enough. Spoilers. You know,
spoilers.
The Breaking Dawn Part 2, the big fight that is all just Alice's vision.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you read it, it's just talking. Like they're just talking back and forth. There's no like fight. But when you watch the movie, you're like, whoa, this is so intense. And oh my God, Carlisle's head and whoa. And yeah, you get a little disappointed when it's just Alex's vision. But at least there was some action in there. There's not a whole lot of that in the book. So Twilight, from the first book to the last book, the movies are better. Like, in my opinion. Maybe New Moon, I could argue, but even New Moon, I like the way they took because when Bella's depressed, there's literally 3 pages and it just says the month and you're no words, just the months. And I really like the way they did that in the movie. The visual, like turning around, letting seasons pass, showing the months go by. So, you know, that's the one movies I would say that is better than the book. I hated My Sister's Keeper because they changed the ending.
My Sister's Keeper, what is that?
That's the one where Cameron Diaz is in the movie.
Yeah, the daughter, she like has another kid to be spare parts for her kid dying.
Yes.
And
such a shitty thing. Yeah.
And they changed the ending, and you know, the wrong sister died kind of thing, in the way the book ending is a lot sadder. But I feel like it needed to be because it's a sad fucking story.
It's so sad. Yeah.
Yeah. And in the movie, they tried to kind of make it the happiest ending possible. Yeah. And so that's where I was just like, it needed to be sad. It needed to be sad.
I didn't even read the book or watch the movie, but like I've seen the clips on TikTok because like it's been out for a while, obviously.
Now you can watch it and read it.
I don't know where to watch it. Like, I might read it, but
well, read it first and then watch it. I'm not gonna say the endings, but they do, like, it is way different, and it's just like, it just made me like, they ruined, like, the movie's good up until like the end, and then I was just like, well, are you fucking kidding me? Like, wow, like, way to ruin it for me, kind of thing. You know?
Way to ruin it,
and it makes you really hate Cameron Diaz.
In the movie?
You really hate Cameron Diaz.
Do. Yeah, you think she's a piece of shit the whole time.
The whole time.
She did a really good job being a really shitty person.
Yeah. Like, good acting. Good job, Cameron Diaz.
If she was acting, I don't know. Like, some people are assholes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll have to add that on, but yeah.
On your list of 1 million books you still have to read all the time.
Oh my fucking God, yeah.
My favorite book growing up, found it in the 3rd grade. There was this secondhand bookstore called like the Lion's Den or something on Ottawa Street in Hamilton. Yep. And it was just by a random find, I found a 1st edition copy of Pong Wifty's A Witch of Dirty Habits that I still have. And it is just a book, an easy read, about a witch who has like a hamster as a familiar, and she's disgusting because that's just what she is. She has bad, dirty habits. So,
well, that makes sense.
And I try every single time my kids were like at that age where I was like, this is a really good book. Like, you should read this book. All 4 of them pretty much told me to go fuck myself. So like I have this book that I tried to like pass down, and they're like, no, like go, yeah.
That's annoying because I have the same thing with my son. I'm like, I have all these books from when I was a kid. Like, you should read. You might like some of these. Like, you should try and read some of these. No, he won't touch them.
Yeah,
won't touch them. I'm like, I grew up with these. Like, these are good. Like, come on, try a little. But no.
It's like trying to convince them to do drugs. Like, no, come on.
Just read one. Just see how you like it. Yeah.
The first taste is free.
I used to read I still do. I pretty much read anything and everything. And I have this bad habit of never stopping a book if I start it. Like, I know you're supposed to.
I DNF books all the fucking time.
I can't do that. I know you're supposed to. You're like, if you don't get into a book in the first, however many pages, you just should move on. I can't do it. So I'll go through, periods of, a month where I read, 10 books, and then I'll be stuck on one book for, 4 months because I have to finish it. It doesn't matter. I have to finish it. How else will I know if I like it?
You know at
the beginning.
I have to finish it every time.
Life is too short, especially with my TBR being super freaking long. I DNF books, literally, if I don't like it in the first 2 chapters, I'm like, no. There's only a couple of books that I've I toughed it out. But even then, some of them I was like, why did I do that?
Why did I do
lesson
that to
learned.
myself?
I can't get that time back. I could have been reading some good ass smut, and instead I wrote no.
No.
Is there something that specifically pardon my turn of phrase turns you off from reading these books? Is there something you really that's stops you and you're like, I can't finish?
For what?
I don't know what in these 2 chapters is finally making you go, fuck this shit, and throw the book over your shoulder.
Focus. If I can't get behind the story, if I can't picture it in my head, because I'm one of those readers that literally visualizes it as I read, it's a movie in my own head. If I can't picture it and I get to the point where I'm just reading and I don't even remember what I'm reading, and then I'm 3 pages in, I'm like, what the fuck did I just read those steps? No, then I'm just I might as well just skip it. That's what turns me off of that.
Makes sense.
If I can't, so I have to read in silence, on my own, or I'll read the same paragraph over and over again. So if I can't read a book on my own, all in one sitting, I won't read that book. It's just, nope. I need to be able to read it all in one sitting and no interruptions. That's something, because I keep reading the same books over and over again. So I already like them. I already know them, but if I can't read them, that's what I'm like, nope, this isn't for me.
I'm pretty good, just because I get interrupted all the time. I think I kind of trained my brain into I can read as long as I finish the page. And so I know that I'm starting at the top of the next page. I'm usually good. I will admit that I do the cardinal sin of books I own. I don't do it to other books, but books I own.
You dog ear them, don't you?
I dog ear too. I
dog ear them, yeah.
I think it adds character. It's
do you spine break as well?
Sometimes. Depends how many times I've read the book.
Oh yeah, sometimes some of my copies are pretty.
You know that, right? You can train your spine to not have it broken and it floppy.
You're not reading your books enough.
Yeah,
that's what that is.
My books are my trophies. My physical hard copies are my trophies, and they just sit on my shelf. I don't fucking touch those. I'll read my Kindle.
One of my books are so because if I'm reading a book, I do try to read pages. It'll sit in my purse for months, and they get beat up. And one of my books is missing half of it. And it's just duct tape, man. That's the spine is duct tape. And sometimes it comes undone. You got to duct tape it again.
My heart hurts for that book. My heart is hurting
it's
right now.
1970, man. It's old.
living a good life. I can't do Kindle. I've tried. I need the physical copy. I need to smell the paper. I need to be able to like hold it in all these weird angles as I'm slowly cocooning myself while I'm getting deeper
And get
immersively
like
into
those
the
little paper
story.
cuts when you're trying to like.
Oh yeah,
flip
I
the
need to work
pages.
for that story. You know,
I
I
need,
need to,
yeah.
like,
I need 1,000 pages to fall on my face. When
Try
like-
to no falling on your face. It's good times. I'm telling you.
my favorite is when you're like reading and then you're like, oh, I wonder how much of the story left, and you can like see it, a visual representation. You're like,
Yes.
wow, I've already read half
On
the book.
Kindle, it tells you you're at like 85%, and you're like, okay, I get like that's
Yeah, but
like
that's
that
not
much.
as fun. That's not as visually representative.
Listen, like
you
a
know,
dude can tell you his dick is like 8 inches. You won't believe him until you see it. Like
exactly.
You
Books
gotta
are like
see
dicks.
it to believe it. That's right. The best books, you know. You see it. You feel it. That's
You know, within the first 2 chapters.
right. Sometimes you don't need a chapter. It's just, you know.
You just
You know,
know.
first 3
Why-
sentences, you're like, no, that's small.
The dog just shit herself. It smells so bad. Oh my god. I like Neptune, honey. Oh my god. She's trying to get air from the open window. I don't know.
You know it's bad when you don't want to smell your own shit.
Oh,
Like,
she's running away. She's leaving. Oh my god. You
She
did.
scared herself with her own fart.
It stinks. It's oh my gosh, the cold. Jeez.
Dogs
better-
worst.
Oh, what did you eat?
Maynard farts all the time now because he's like
Oh, she's coming
old
back.
as fuck and like just I can't.
Yeah, she's like, okay, the smell's going away now. I can come back and lay with you. Yeah, go back. Oh my gosh. Thanks, honey.
It's a gift.
Mm-hmm. She's just like, yeah, there you go.
Enjoy me.
Oh, she just like made me lose my train of thought. Like that was like a punch right in the face. All of a sudden, it was like, whoop. I thought Kyle was here. Jeez.
So, John, I have to ask the question since we're talking about books today.
Okay.
Did you write today?
No, I've been extremely freaking busy today. I had appointments. I had my therapist appointment in the morning, and then I had to deal with the insurance broker people for my son's $4,000 bone healing machine. Fucking fuck. And then dentist, and then I baked. I don't know how the fuck I found time, but I baked 2 loaves.
Because you took the time out of your writing.
Yeah.
Was it worth it?
Yeah, it was. It was
Bread
delicious.
is always worth it.
Yeah, I made 2 loaves of bread. I made dinner rolls, and I made cinnamon rolls. They didn't turn out too good, but like,
You had all the other bread.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And,
Mediocre stuff is still better than no stuff.
That's
Yeah.
right.
yeah, like it was, like it tasted good, but it looked gross, and like it was the texture was. I also went to the dollar store because I needed basin brushes, like, you know, to like brush egg wash on your breads. And I needed a new spatula. So went to the dollar store. And then I picked up Caleb.
You're just giving us our list of things you
I
did
know.
today.
This is Dawn's day.
Yeah.
A day in the
then-
life of Dawn.
Yeah. And then I had to deal with Caleb. So no, I did not get to write.
Yeah.
Aw.
I feel like I'm never gonna have time to write again. And I wasted all that time before. Like I was like, oh, I could just organize my thoughts later. Procrastination, I could do it later. And now I'm never gonna have time for anything unless I quit my job. I'll be like, no, listen, it's not for me.
Working is not for me. Sorry,
I just
guys.
decided that like, who needs money? Like, it's not important.
Yeah. I don't need food. Fuck.
I'll just play the lottery and hope the best. That's it. Like, we'll be living on the streets. I'll sell my house. It'll be fine. Like that's it.
You gotta start selling your feet pics. We've talked about that.
I have a profile.
I
But
need
that
to do
doesn't
topless
help if you're not
therapy.
making content.
Thank God.
Yeah. I
You
have,
can be my therapist. I'll watch you topless, and you. Yeah.
sorry.
I need therapy anyway, so you might as well.
I just might as well get
Yeah.
paid to therapize you. That's not
Yeah.
even a word.
Verified.
No, like I'm getting
Ah,
free
you've been
trial because I'm getting the friend
verified.
discount, and like,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and so you can practice on me, and then I get free therapy. It's gonna be Perfect.
Okay.
She needs practice to be topless.
No, she's well, probably. Like she's practiced it for therapy sessions.
Yeah,
It
but like
just-
my tits are so low that like I'm gonna have to like move my camera so all you see is knees. Like
Yeah,
that's
fine.
That's fine.
Yeah. It'll be a guessing game.
Yeah, like
Perfect.
where is it? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Is that a belly button or is that a nipple? We'll find out.
It's fine. I'll shake and we'll see which one moves more. And
Yeah.
then that's the nipple. And we'll guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like what, because like I have like a lot, like I have too many books. Like I put up these bookshelves and I have too many books for the bookshelves. I thought it was going to be enough and now I'm like piling them up. I have been reading a lot of I do read a lot of nonfiction too. Just
I read a lot of
because
education books.
yeah.
Too much.
Yeah. Education books.
I hate I love learning new things, but like it takes up too much space. Like
Mhm.
again, I can't read online. I need to have everything.
Ooh, who is your least favorite author? Jessica, who's your least favorite author?
J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, fuck that bitch.
Yeah. Besides her, yeah.
Besides her, I don't really know. There's not like if it's the least favorite, I probably haven't read their books.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm kind of like the most thing that makes me mad about JK is that I love the world she built, and then she has to ruin it by saying stupid things.
Yeah.
I love the world she wrote until I read it again once I learned media literacy.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was like, oh, wow, this is anti-Semitic. Oh, wow, the only black character's last name is Shacklebolt. Like, and then I started being like, oh, it's kind of
only Asian character is
Cho
Chong.
Chang,
Yeah,
it's like the only like like they're Padma and like just generic names for like the few people that aren't white.
Mhm.
And and like reading it and that kind of stuff, and then a lot of the ideas aren't new. She just kind of like combined them in a certain way that it seemed new, but a boy wizard going to a school, there's tons of books actually about boy wizards going to a magic school, like it's not so it was like I feel like a lot of it for me was just nostalgia. It was just
I think
I was at the perfect age for
Yeah.
that to be marketed to me, that it just became such a huge part of my life because a lot of people knew what I was talking about. If I was reading those other boy wizard stories, no one would have known what I was talking about.
You have to read the same boy wizard as everybody else.
Exactly. It was a way to connect. It was, and I'm saying this as like someone that has a Harry Potter tattoo. Luckily, besides like the Deathly Hallow symbol and like the quote I chose is until the very end. But it's not very like obviously Harry Potter unless you like, so I thankfully I never did more of that. But now HBO is doing that fucking 10-year Harry Potter show coming out.
Didn't they already have one?
No, there's well, I mean, there's Fantastic Beasts and stuff, but no, they're doing like a retelling of the Harry Potter stories, and it's going to be over the next 10 years, and each season is going to be a whole book.
They just finished. Why are they doing remakes on things that just finished? Go back 30 years.
Because they need to make money.
Yeah. And the issue is J.K. Rowling is literally listed as executive producer. So they're like they tried with the video game to say like, oh well, she's not a part of the creative process. She's definitely a part with the show. So you can't. I loved all the memes about how they're gonna make it like Euphoria. Like, could you imagine like Harry Potter wizards all like having sex and stuff? That'd be hilarious. Because
Gimpiest robes,
but so that's a little disappointing. But
30-year-old
ruined my childhood, and for that I will always hate her.
Fuck her.
I don't like, what's his name, George something, the guy that wrote all the Game of Thrones.
George R.R. Martin.
Yeah, I just couldn't get into Game of Thrones, so I'm gonna say I don't like him just because like there was a lot of like rape scenes,
child sex, rape,
which I don't think should get a fan base unless like it's part of a traumatic story. Like that's
Yeah.
I'm talking about abuse. Like the story is based on abuse, not fantasy adventure.
Yeah.
Like I'm very picky on my fantasy adventure.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Well, it's so bad that they literally aged up so many of the characters in the show.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Daenerys is supposed to be like 13, 14, you know, and they make her like 17 in the show. Like it's like
To make
they
it
have
less
to age up
creepy.
your characters. Like yeah, that's a
17 still
problem.
creepy. Like it's,
Yeah.
yeah. Almost 50% of my kids are 17, you know? Like it's gross. Like it's
100%.
Yeah.
And I have read the books, and like those scenes aren't really necessary. Like you could like it's a made up world. Like I hate the argument that
It's not real.
but that's how it was in that time period. And I'm like, it's made up. It's fantasy. There wasn't dragons in medieval times. Like, did you really think there's dragons? Like, I'm so confused. Like,
Yeah.
you could have literally made them all, you know, adults having consensual sex for the few times the sex is actually like actually matters. And like you could have like, if you really wanted to, because there, you know, there's arranged marriage and that kind of stuff, you could talk about like reluctant sex, you know, you're just doing what you have to do as part of your duty for the kingdom or whatever.
Yeah.
But like even then it doesn't have to be some tragic, you know, rape scene.
Yeah.
And they definitely don't have to be children.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like these are images these writers have in their head that they're fantasizing about to put in their books. Like it's
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why like even Euphoria and stuff was having a lot of, you know, like the people working on those shows and stuff like that. It's all, you know, teenagers having fucking sex.
Gossip Girl, like, you know, those ones. Like what is it?
One Tree Hill.
Yeah, it's all creepy.
The OC.
All creepy dudes and gals writing about the high school experience they hope to have. You know, it's like, it's okay to be a dork in high school. Maybe just if your audience needs to be adult, like have college. That's still school.
Yeah.
You still have to go to classes. You're still a little bit naive, you know, like do college. If like sex, alcohol, and drugs is a main focus for your show, college kids. Like
it's like you can, like, I really liked Degrassi because they had these things in it, but it was never shown.
Yeah.
No.
You know, like they talked about how, oh, they had sex and then now there's a teen pregnancy, but they're not like actively showing these scenes. And I mean, the reason was Degrassi actually had teenagers as their cast.
Real teenagers,
not adults playing teenagers, so that they can shoot sex scenes because that's what they do. And then it's like everyone, you know, a lot of people that you know, I don't want to single any genders out there, men, that watch these things and like fantasize about it. I'm like, you know, you're fantasizing about children having sex, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what the fantasy is here. Yeah. So
you
don't have to do that. Like it's not necessary. It's really not.
No, it's really not.
I do have a problem. One of my favorite books, like I said, the Drizzt series, is like the woman he ends up falling in love with, he watched grow up. So elves are older than humans. They age slower, they live longer. And the woman is human, so she is at adult life sooner. But like, even though he was younger in his elf years, like he met her when he was like 60 and then she was 8. So it's still gross, even though you're young for your species. So like, but he was like a grown ass man on this adventure and she was just a child. So he like watched her grow up and then they like fall in love. Like it's gross. It's like Celine Dion.
Celine Dion,
yeah. So yeah, that's like one problem I have. So when they started, the first time I read that they started their romance, I was like, okay, like I can't read these books for a while because that's disgusting. I was like a teenager. But then I just got back into them. I was like, okay, you know what? I'll just ignore it. I'll pretend she was an adult the whole time. And then I powered through.
I feel like magical creatures or magical whatever, they automatically make it like age gaps don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Like Twilight. Like, he's 109 or some shit. And she's like 17. Like, it's like, no, but he's in a 17-year-old body. It's okay.
Like, it's fine. His balls haven't dropped yet. Like they're stuck inside him for the rest of his life.
He looks 17. That's all that matters. Like,
I'm sure he looked 30 in the movie. Like that's
yeah. So yeah, sometimes you do have to suspend your disbelief for a good story.
That's right. You're like, you know what? I love I love the world that's built in. I have to just power through. It's fine. But that's it. That's the only way I could power through was like, I'll just pretend she was an adult the whole time.
So what author do you hate, Dawn?
Colleen Hoover.
Yes.
We talked about her recently, didn't we?
Probably a while
maybe.
ago.
I cannot stand. Okay, so you know how I just said I like dark romance, which obviously has dark themes. Okay, I like fake dark, like fake ideologies, right? Like mafia. Like hell yeah, like I want to be a mafia princess. I do not want to romanticize a domestic abusive relationship. I do not want to romanticize a man who's grieving his child that died. Like it just is so bad. Like she was a therapist before she became a writer, and she's using her past clients' trauma for book sales. Like that.
I didn't know that last part, and so that just made me vomit in my mouth a little bit, to be honest.
Oh my gosh. And that, like, I could
She
never.
says they're not on real people, but I mean, like, you were a therapist.
Yeah, like I could never
Yeah.
do something like that. Take the lives and trauma of other people I actually know
Yeah.
and try to profit from that. Like that's
like, and they're not like fantasies. Like they're just this girl got into a relationship in college with her boyfriend. He ends up being an abusive cop or something like that. I don't know. I didn't read the book fully. Yeah. And then she ends up trying to leave him for her high school crush, but she's pregnant with the cop, and like so it's an actual real domestic like relationship. He's an average Joe. He's not some billionaire. It's not like it was so real. It was too real. Like, how do you fantasize about that and be like, cheer for some people were cheering for the abuser? Like, it was just so bad for me.
I mean, and statistically, women are more in more danger in a domestic violence situation when they are pregnant.
Yep.
So I wonder if she did that on purpose to raise the stakes.
Well, I think she falls down the stairs or something.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. A therapist would know that's like statistics. So
yeah,
that's, and I mean, cops, don't look up 40%. Was it 40%?
Oh yeah, cops are very into abuse. They bring their work home with them.
Yeah. So like that was one book I didn't read that one. I unfortunately read one called Ugly Love, and it was about a pilot who's dating this girl, but he keeps calling her his ex-girlfriend's name, and then you find out later on that he got into a car accident with his ex-girlfriend and their newborn baby, and he saves the girlfriend and leaves the baby in the car, and the baby dies, obviously. And like has to work through that trauma. I'm like, how can I get involved in this love story when I'm focusing on a dead baby? Like, what are you doing?
Right, like that's a trauma book. Like that's the child called
It's trauma porn.
Yeah,
it is legit trauma porn, and I can't get behind it. And I read some fucked up shit that it's too real. It's like real situations that would really happen. That I'm like, so maybe, I read for the fantasy, not for real shit. Like I try to escape that kind of shit.
Maybe I would read The Stepbrother over that.
Mm-hmm.
We finally found it, ladies and gentlemen. This whole episode went full circle.
Yeah, I would read Stepbrother over trauma, real trauma. Like it's
so it ends with us. That is the book with the domestic violence. Blake Lively is actually going to play the girl who.
Oh yeah, they're making it a movie.
They are.
That family will just play anything. Like they're great actors, but they will just pick up any role. Like
And so anyway, so she's playing the girl. I forget what the fuck the girl's name is. Like again, did not read the fucking book. And who's the dude from Jane the Virgin?
I have no idea. I don't.
The Spanish guy.
The Spanish guy, yeah.
Well, shit, that sounds racist. Okay, I meant like
I'll edit it out. Hold on. Jane the Virgin.
Don
Justin Baldoni.
Okay, Justin Baldoni. He is the director of it, and I think he's also playing the abuser. I'm not too sure. Someone said that he was playing the abuser, but I know for a fact he's directing it, and he got Blake Lively to be.
I just like getting your clients' case studies and like case notes and putting it into a book.
But she denies it. She says that it wasn't like her clients. But I'm like, you were a therapist for how long? And like, these are real situations, obviously.
Well, maybe she was just like, not that type of therapist. There's like anxiety therapy, like it's different types. Maybe she has a focus. I'm just like devil's advocate. She's probably a piece of shit. I'm not like.
No, she's definitely a piece
she's
of
a
shit.
white woman. Like,
on it. No, she's definitely a piece of shit. Anyway, she's my least favorite author ever.
I agree with that one too.
I can't stand her.
I think the big issue is that, like, you know, like a lot of these stories, dead children, domestic violence, etc., all exist in a lot of different types of books. The issue, I think, is that she's making it a love story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like if she made it like a horror, suspense, a thriller, like something, a drama, something, you know, something else, then it probably would be okay. But the fact that she's like focusing on the romance, that's the issue.
Or you can write a romance that have those kind of aspects in it, but like as a like side piece, like as a backstory, not as the main focus, which it is. Like this was main focused on that. And like, no, I can't. It pisses me off. And like I said, I've read dark romances, which obviously could have abuse. It could have SA in it. It can have drugs, previous past of dead children, like whatever. But it doesn't focus around that. It's just like a backstory, but then the story continues from that.
Yeah.
Whereas her books, that is the plot, is that. And I'm like, no, absolutely not.
Well, if you want to end up being a dirtbag writing those kind of stories, you can read people's like court documents and their background stories going to canlee.org. You know, if you need to do
okay. We're promoting
no, but like I like it's, you know how like the Florida Man, like the reason like you can Google the Florida Man, it's because all their documents are available to the public.
All court documents are.
Yeah, but ours is also Canadian. They're just not public. So if you want to read other people's misfortunes, you know, that's some fun advice.
Just don't write them into a romance. Like
and don't make it a main focus. Like you can have that as like a side piece of like this happened and now we're here, but don't make it like that is why we're falling in love.
There's like you don't pay child support, so like that's how the love story starts. Like you're like you're his lawyer and like he doesn't pay child support, and then you fall in love trying to fight for his rights not to pay child support.
That would be a bestseller.
Oh my gosh, fucking dirtbag. Nobody cheers on a dirtbag more than his new woman.
Yeah.
Those are all nice.
It'll be called We Won't Pay, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you see that TikTok where the girl is getting a phone call from her ex's wife? Yeah. And she's screaming at her going, we didn't agree to pay $600 a month. And
the woman's just like, I can't do anything. Call the child support people. Like, we have to wait till court.
Call the officers. Yeah. And she's just like, we thought because you're getting the money, you could just give it back to us. That's what she said. Like, no, that's not my job. And maybe if your husband actually paid his child support, wouldn't have that back paid now, would he?
No, there's a lot of fun guys. We have one of those in our life too. The fun guys.
Fun guys.
No, that'd be good. That'd probably be a big seller. You know?
for that category of people.
Yeah. Maybe I'll finally get men into like reading more romance. Actually,
it's a men's focused romance.
Yeah.
And then you gotta write it like she held the breath in she didn't know she had, and her boobies, when she breathed out, her boobies jiggled. Like, you have to word it exactly like that. Have you ever, like, have you read erotica? Like, every time a man writes one, it's the most ridiculous scenes ever. Like,
She held her period because of her desire for me.
that's
Yeah.
why she just held it and she just sucked it up.
She just didn't get it anymore because she said she didn't want it. Like,
So,
Books.
books.
Some people shouldn't write them.
Or at
More
least
people need to read them.
Yeah. That's it. That's how the end thoughts are.
Yeah.
Don't write them and read them.
There we
you
go.
can tell us your favorite genres if you email us, or your favorite authors or your least favorite authors at opinionatedlushes@gmail.com.
Woohoo.
right.
And thank you again, our VIP patron, Stephanie Hurst, for still hanging in there with us. If you want a shout out at the end of our episode, make sure to visit our Patreon page and sign up for the VIP level, or you can sign up even at the lowest tier to receive all of our bonus content. We have like hours upon hours of bonus content on there, including our pre-drink series and our React series. So check it out.
Yes.
Woo. Did we hit it all? Did we hit all the marks?
I think so.
I think so.
We did it. We're like professionals
Follow
now.
Like and follow. That's it, right? Like, we want people
like, follow, and rate.
Well,
Please,
can you rate us and like
comments? Let
leave
us
a
know.
review? Like, write a review for us.
Please and thank you. We appreciate
even if
it.
it's shit. Like,
Yeah, we want the shit ones too.
Especially if it's shit.
yeah. And if you're gonna rate us 1 star, let us know. Like, let us
Email us. Your
let us know it's
opinions.
because you don't like us, or
Yeah.
it's because one of us is related to your family members. Like
Yeah.
that.
Or we dated you at one point.
Yeah, we'd like to know what your one is for. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
Not
talked
so we
about
can do
it.
better, just so we know. We're curious.
Yeah,
We want to
wanna
read
know.
it on here. Like, let's be real. Like, that's what I'm
know who
doing.
you
I
are.
would read my hate email. Like,
I know. I would love it. Like, it would maybe at first it would make me sad if it was like a lot of people saying shitty things. But then, like, you know, I just have fun with it, like I do on TikTok when people say shitty things.
You
like, okay, you hate me, fine, whatever. But
okay, have a good night.
good night.
good night, guys.
Bye.